Well, good morning or good afternoon or evening. Could be good evening, depending obviously when you are watching this video. Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. Welcome to the channel, guys. I'm Aaron David, your host. So please, obviously, you know what? If you want Rangers content, if you want daily free Rangers content, this is the channel to come to. We don't hide behind a paywall. So hit that sub or ring that notification bell. I guess, you know what? Yesterday I said sparkle and shine. That's what I wanted, some sparkle and shine from Rangers in December. And we got a bit of sparkle from Seema, a bit of sparkle from Todd. Bit of sparkle from Ross. Not a lot of shine, though. Wasn't a lot of shine. We're going to break down that performance from yesterday a little bit, talk about the game. We're going to look at the team, look at where we are in the league, and we're also going to look ahead to this week and obviously what's going on around the club. So yesterday's game, what can we say about yesterday's game? Well, it was kind of a tale of two halves, sort of, kind of, a little bit, maybe. First half was, well, up until the end of the first half, it was pretty woeful. It was just more of the same as what we've seen the last couple of games. You know, more passiveness, more slow passing, more tentative build-up, lacking real confidence, lacking drive, lacking focus. It was a very poor first half performance from Rangers. And, you know, I was listening to another couple of pods last night when I got home from work. I got home from work last night, took the dog out, went to bed because I was exhausted, and listened to a couple of pods before I went to sleep. And I'll be honest with you, all of them said the same thing. This is Rangers previous. We've got previous for this. First half, just don't bother. Second half, we come out and play. This is something we've got to put right. We've got to put it right, because if we don't put it right, when it comes to playing those teams with a bit more killer instinct than St Mirren, when we come to playing the likes of that lot from across the city, and even to some extent, Hearts, who will have Lawrence Shankland, for example, on Wednesday night. You know, if we start like that against teams like that, we are going to be behind early, as we saw at Ibrox when Hearts took the lead, obviously with that Shankland header. You know, and when we come to face that lot from across the city on the 30th at the Piggery, you know, it's going to be a situation where we will, you know, if we start like that, we could be out of the game by half an hour. And that's not what we need, especially if we can get that gap down to 5 points by the time we come to play them. The team had, I think, more elements of rotation in it again. A few surprises for me. You know, obviously the back four pretty much, I think, picked itself up until, again, Borna Barisic. I think it's kind of a, I know Hart and Hand said it wasn't true. It's kind of more of a rumor, kind of more of a discussion point. But I do think that Ridvan Yilmaz will be on his way out of the club in January. The fact that Borna Barisic has played 3 times in a week and Ridvan only got on as a sub yesterday, I think tells you a great story, tells you a whole story about Ridvan and his future at the club. You know, personally, I call for Ridvan to start. I wanted him to start. I thought he would have offered more. I think he would have given us more drive in that first half than Borna Barisic did. I mean, Borna wasn't terrible yesterday, which is a change from how he has been. He was okay. He wasn't brilliant. He wasn't terrible. He was just Borna. The back four was fairly solid yesterday, but, you know, there was an interesting statistic about that back four. That back four played together in 2018. That back four, probably the oldest back four in the Scottish Premier League. Yet apparently we still have the best defensive record in the Premier League. Don't know how that one works. There we go. You know, Tom Lawrence coming in to play alongside John Lundstram as the 8. Philippe Clement clearly going a lot more attacking yesterday, which was interesting. Something I think we need to do at home. You know, when you've got a situation where teams will come to Ibrox, they will put on that low block. They will not want to come out and play us, because if they come out and play us, they know we'll take them to the cleaners, because that's just the way it is. You know, we went up against the low block again yesterday. The St Mirren did pretty much what Philippe Clement said they were going to do, didn't he? He talked in his press conference, well, his kind of press conference, about the fact that they'd sit in, they'd put the low block on, and that's exactly what they did. So I think it's the way forward. I don't look away from home. Yes, you probably can have 2 holders. In Europe, yes, you can have 2 holders. Playing against that lot from across the city at their place, yes, you probably can. But I think when you come up against these teams that are not top teams, that are not teams near the top, that are teams that are going to cause you a great deal of difficulty, that are not going to attack you, you do, I think, need to go with a more offensive-minded midfielder alongside Lundstram or Jack or whoever the holder is. Obviously, terrible news yesterday that Nicholas Raskin, the injury now is worse than we were first feared, and he will be out until at least after the cup final on the 17th. So he will not be available for the Viaplay. Obviously, issues around Nicholas Raskin's fitness. So that midfield there, Lundstram and Lawrence, and then McCausland and Seema out wide, and Todd Cantwell in at the 10. I think, you know, yesterday it was kind of written in the stars, wasn't it, that Todd would start at the 10, because I think if Philippe Clement doesn't start him in there after what happened on Thursday night, then it becomes an even bigger story. So I think it was very clever of Philippe Clement to do what he did. And I think Todd, you know, on the whole, played very well yesterday. Cyril Dessers up front. Look, personally, I thought it was when I saw the team for the first time, I was like, oh, for God's sake, him. He's an empty shirt. He's an absolute empty shirt. I mean, yeah, he played a part in that first goal. Of course he did. But the rest of the game, he was absolutely shocking again. And is he the answer? No. But the problem is, have we got anyone else? Kamar Roof, not even on the bench yesterday. Sam Lammers, definitely not a striker. Zach Lovelace is out injured. Realistically, Danilo hasn't done great recently, and I think is also in danger of being run into the ground after coming back from injury. So, there had to be some rotation there. But look, realistically, is Cyril Dessers the answer? No, he's not. He's just awful. Absolutely awful. There's some fans I put on Twitter about this yesterday. I gave him a 4 or a 5 out of 10 yesterday. A few fans criticised me saying that he did well yesterday. Seriously, guys, what game were you watching? I'll be honest with you, everyone I've talked to, I've talked to guys from other podcasts, listened to other podcasts. I've, talked to a couple of people in the media about it. I've, a couple of sources. Nobody rates what he did yesterday. Nobody at all. I think, yes, there's giving the guy a chance. Of course there is, but he's just not up to it. I mean, for me, Cyril Dessers, he has less of an understanding of the offside rule than Fashion Sakala and Ted Lasso combined. He was offside so many times yesterday again. His hold-up play, especially in the first half, was appalling. Listening to Stephen Thompson talk about him and talking about the fact that he has to do better in that situation. He has to hold the ball up better. He has to get his... He saw one point that I heard yesterday, which was a great point by one of the analysts. I can't remember who it was now. Said, when you haven't got a lot of pace, you've got to use your physical strength to get your body in between the ball, the ball, and the defender, to keep the defender away from the ball. And Cyril Dessers doesn't do that. He just doesn't seem to have the physical strength either, or that desire to get that physical battle there. And for me, when you haven't got the speed, he's as slow as a car horse. He needs to have that, but he just didn't have that again yesterday. And for me, January, when it comes down to January, we need to go and sign a striker. We need someone who can back up Danilo or play up with Danilo. And Dessers needs to be punted as soon as possible, because the guy is, I mean, considering, look, we paid $4.5 million for him. He is absolutely awful. I mean, he makes Umar Sadiq and Sibo look world class. He makes Oleg Salenko look world class. The bench yesterday, McCrory, Ridvan, Suter, Lammers, Cifuentes, Matondo, Sterling, Davis, and Danilo. Again, I don't think there's a great deal of impact from that bench. You got your Matondo, you've got Danilo, but Lammers came on, didn't look good, missed that chance. I mean, that chance scared the corner flag. That hit that he had yesterday scared the corner flag more than it scared the goalkeeper. So first half, not great, but until Abdallah Sima pops up with a goal. And, Abdallah Sima, I think he had that. It's been coming, hasn't it? He's had a bit of a duff month. He hasn't scored after that run of, I think it was 7 in 7 or 8 in 8, whatever it was he got. Brilliant, great finish yesterday, fantastic finish. Todd Cantwell involved in the build-up as well. Yes, slightly heavy touch from Todd, and Sima takes over and smash into the net. But I suppose up until that point, again, Super Jack Butland in goal had saved us with that save from Boyd Muntz. But, for me, one of the best players in the first half, again, was Ross McCausland. Why? Because, again, he went out there, he went at people, he went round people, he ducked and dived, he showed passion, he went forward, he actually took players on, and he showed a bit of energy and drive that the rest of the team just weren't showing. And for me, McCausland yesterday was absolutely fantastic. And, him, Todd Cantwell, Jack Butland, Abdallah Sima, that's my 4 guys I put for the man of the match poll on the channel. All 4 of those guys did really well yesterday. But Ross McCausland, again, showing why we need to give youth a chance. And I know some people have, questioned, saying that, well, people at the club must not think they're good enough. Well, okay, there's that issue. But how will we know they're not good enough unless we actually use them in the first team? Bailey Rice, Zach Lovelace when he's fit, Robbie Fraser, Ishaka Thompson, Cole McKinnon, guys like that, John Lee Yefeko. We need to see these guys. If Ross McCausland is any guide of what these young players can do in this league, then just look at him. He was class yesterday. Second goal obviously comes in the second half. It was still very nervous at that point, I think, until that second goal went in. Again, the second half was better. The performance was better by Rangers in the second half. There was a bit more urgency, a bit more identity to the play, and maybe whatever had been said by Philippe Clement at half time must have had some effect on that team. But I thought that Todd Cantwell did a lot better in the second half. It's weird, isn't it? Play him in a 10 role and he looks a better player. Todd has his faults, don't get me wrong. He needs to stay off social media. and he needs to stop being TikTok Todd. He needs to cut the diving out, just cut that out completely. But we saw yesterday, at times in that second half, what an absolute class act he is. What a quality player he is. Some of his touches, finding space, moving. And the ball through for Abdallah Seema's second goal was absolutely divine. Strange that, isn't it? You play someone of the class of Canwell in that 10 role, he creates you chances. That's what he's going to do. And for me now, it's got to be that he is that 10 now for the rest of the season. As long as he is fit, as long as he is match fit and not fatigued, he's got to play in that 10 role. There cannot be anybody else there. He just looks a class act for me, an absolute class act in that 10 role. And yes, he wasn't perfect yesterday. He could have been better yesterday, but the touches of class, the little balls that he put in, the little moves that he did, just show what he's got. That little level above you need. You need a special player to help you win the league. And he can be that special player if he's played in the right position. And obviously, Abdallah Seema gets that second goal, celebrates it with obviously the celebration for his newborn child, which obviously I think was an issue according to Philippe Clement. Apparently, I don't know where that is. But obviously, that was just such a non-issue, wasn't it? I mean, when it comes to that, I'm with Roy Keane. What was it? Roy Keane said he didn't have the baby, did he? Unless he's breastfeeding, he should be okay. So I think 100% with him on that. And Roy Keane, I know he's an idiot. I know he's a ex-Celtic player, but he's spot on with that. Absolutely spot on with what he said about that, about players and babies. But yeah, great second goal from Abdallah Seema. We created other chances. Should have got a couple more goals. I think the problem we've got is that we're not finishing teams off. We're not putting them to the sword enough. And I think that's something we need to start to do. We need a bit more cutting edge up there. And I do think, like I said, in January, a striker has to be a priority. It really does, because, we haven't got anybody to back up Danilo. And to some degree, I don't think Danilo is an out and out on his own striker. I think he's more a kind of 9.5 or a 10 rather than being the out and out number 9. Dessers is not the answer. Roof is never fit. Lammers is not the answer. Zach Lovelace is, again, I don't think he's an out and out 9. We do need someone who is an out and out 9, someone who can put the ball in the back of the net, regularly. I had a good suggestion yesterday. One suggestion yesterday was, up until we get someone, why not try Seema through the middle? Put Matondo out on one side, McCausland on the other, Cantwell in the 10, and put Seema through the middle. Seema seems very composed. When he's put through in that middle, and given a chance to finish, he seems very composed, very focused. He seems quality. So why not give Seema a chance? I'd rather start Seema at striker than Dessers. Dessers is a joke. But Seema is quality. He is a good finisher. Why not put him up there instead of Cyril Dessers? Personally, I just think it's time. I just really hope in January we can find someone, even if it's just on a loan to buy. We have to loan him out first to get rid of him. But both him and Sam Lammers need gone as soon as is humanly possible. In terms of the table, how the table sits after yesterday, obviously we all got a little bit excited, I think, at half-time when St Johnstone were 1-0 up on that dirty green and grey mob from across the city. But unfortunately, obviously, they came back to win. But we're far from impressive again. And I think it's just a real foretell that those guys are nowhere near the team that they were last season under Ange, and they are there for the taking. If Rangers can get that consistency of performance that we saw in the second half, and consistency of performance we've seen in games this year before the international break under Philippe Clement, I think we can really push them all the way. They are not a good team. So we sit second, obviously, on 31 points. They're on 39, 8 points behind with a game in hand. That game in hand is St Johnstone. If we can win that game, which we should do, because St Johnstone are second off bottom, it takes us to 34 to be only 5 points, with obviously 3 old firms still left. So everything's still to play for. Hearts up into third, who we face on Wednesday night on 23 points, and 8 points behind Rangers. St Mirren dropped to 4th. Hibs up to 5th after beating Aberdeen yesterday. Aberdeen, again, losing. And what is just really sad about that is, if you took the 4 points off them that we've gifted them this season, then they would be bottom of the league. That's how crap Aberdeen are. And perhaps puts into perspective that result against them last Sunday. Well, this week, obviously, we build up towards the Hearts game on Wednesday night. And it's going to be a tough game at Tynecastle. Of course it is. It's not an easy place to go and play. They're going to be bang up for it. We beat them at Ibrox 2-1 with those 2 late goals. We then beat them in the semi-final at Hampden. They're going to be out for revenge. They're going to be bang up for this game. So it is very much a case of the fact that I think They're going to be in our faces. They're going to raise their game. They're going to play 110% above what they normally play. And it will be a tough game. And it's going to, it comes right on the back of this game on Sunday. Yes, obviously we get Monday, Tuesday to prep for it. And then Wednesday is game day. But look, I think Monday today is going to be very much a rest day for the players after yesterday's game. A very light session gives Clement one training session effectively to sort this team out and get them ready for that game on Wednesday night. I honestly reckon we've got to go with the strongest possible lineup. We've got to go in there and play with the intensity we played in the second half. Failure to deliver that second half type performance and a repeat of the first half performance, I think, could lead to us being in a bit of trouble towards the end of that game in Edinburgh. Look, this is a situation Rangers need to put right. We've got that crucial tie against Betis next week. We've got that cup final on the 17th. There's an awful lot of tough games coming up and a lot of big games coming up and a lot of games that will decide the direction this season is going in. We can't afford to drop any more points in the league. It's a case now of win every single game. And I know fans from other teams across the world, from other leagues, think that's weird that you say that, but it's just the way that Scotland is. We know that. It's us and them. We battle them. We can't afford to drop points. It's the way it works. But it's going to be a massive week, another big, huge week. Hearts, obviously Wednesday, live stream here on the channel, guys. Come and join me for it. Then Saturday, Dundee at home. Again, live stream here on the channel, guys. Come and join me for it. It's going to be a big week, a big, big week. We'll be all over that. Obviously, look out for further videos from Glasgow Rangers Nation. Channel is doing really well at the moment. Thank you so much for your phenomenal support, guys. You honestly don't know what it means, this fantastic support you give me. It means so much. And this channel is my channel. This is my focus, guys. My vision is to get this channel to be one of the biggest Rangers channels out there. This is what I want to do full time. With your help and your support, by smashing that sub, watching the videos, smashing the like, it helps grow the channel. Thank you so much for watching again. As always, guys, on the way out, if you can do just two things for me. Number one, smash the like. And number two, please always remember, we are the people.